నమస్తే వనితా టీవీ ప్రత్యేక కార్యక్రమానికి స్వాగతం. ఈ రోజు మనతో పాటు ఒక ప్రత్యేకమైన వ్యక్తి ఉన్నారండి. ఆయన సేవల్ని దేశీయంగా అంతర్జాతీయంగా విస్తరిస్తూ దేశం గర్వించదగ్గ పద్మవిభూషణ్ అందుకున్న అండ్ నేటి తరం మహిళకు వాళ్ళ లైఫ్లో అంటే జాబ్ విషయంలో కావచ్చు, లేకపోతే పర్సనల్ లైఫ్లో కావచ్చు, మెడిటేషన్ లేదా యోగా ఎంత ఉపయోగపడుతుందో చెప్పడానికి మనతో పాటు ఉన్నారనమాట. అండ్ ఆయనే కమలేష్ పటేల్ గారు. సో ఈయనని దాజీ అని కూడా పిలుస్తారు. ఆయన మాటల్లోనే అసలు స్పిరిచువల్ మెడిటేషన్ అండ్ యోగా గురించి ఇంకా క్లుప్తంగా తెలుసుకుందాం. Guruji, to an average person, meditation is a tool for calmness and peace. Tell us about its importance in everyone's life.
Meditation is the foundation of our existence actually. Yes. If you refer to Gita and when we follow Gita's Upadesham from Lord Krishna, he says every jiva, every life form seeks happiness. And this happiness is not possible without harmony, peace. Harmony and peace is not possible without contemplative mind. Contemplative mind is not possible, he says, without focus. And focus is not possible without mind gym or mental exercise. And meditation is precisely the mental exercise. We try to focus our mind on one divine object. Many business people, they are also thinking focused mind only on money, right? So that becomes limited and that can frustrate you also. But when you have a divine, the unknown, then you have the infinity in front of you, how to focus on the unknown. Imagine a girl like yourself who is not married perhaps, and she has the vision of infinite possibility of husband, but ultimately end up choosing one. Right? So beginning with meditation is the infinite possibility we run into and culminate into one, and that is the Yoga Purusha. Whoever is the Yoga Purusha will appear to you. It has nothing to do with religious gods and goddesses. The true form will appear and you become one with that entity, and that is the sole purpose. On the way, as they say, there are side effects to a drug. There are some side effects which are detrimental. Some side effects are very good. For example, a while back there was a medicine called Lonitam, or now it's called in the form of minoxidil, Rogaine. It was originally started with blood pressure, with a limited use. The side effects became a broad use to grow hair. Right? Now, the broadest use of meditation these days is not for God, though it was designed to understand, realize godliness. But the side effects like beneficiary side effects, calmness, peace of mind, loss of anxiety, better sleep, better blood pressure. So people are after the side effects of meditation. Main thing was something else.
Being a disciple of Chariji and lineage of Ramachandraji, and what are your thoughts on learning Sahasmar practice of meditation?
Very simple, extremely simple. There is nothing simpler than this in anyone's life. Can you say anything simpler than this when I close my eyes? Is it difficult? That's all we have to do. Just close your eyes and relax and have your attention towards the heart. That divinity is presiding in my heart, and that's all. Rest of the work is done by our Guruji, who transmits. You have heard of this Rama Mandir now, right? There is a lot of publicity, a lot of joy amongst people for Prana Pratishtha, right? Where they infuse prana in a murti. After that only it becomes a worshipable murti. Will murti speak to you that I have received prana? But if I have the ability of transmitting this prana to you, and you see the impact of it, that yes, somehow my soul has been enriched then you can confirm that yes, I have received something because of which I am livelier, more joyful. So that's a proof in itself that pranahuti exists. Prana pratishtha, you don't know. Likewise, Shaktipat. There are some yogis who does Shaktipat. They transmit energy by touch or by look, right? And you have to be in the vicinity of the person or directly in touch. But with pranahuti, it transcends time as well as the space. And that's the specialty of Sahaj Marg system, that you can be where you are in the comfort of your home and just express your desire that I want to meditate, offer a prayer that we teach. And of course, in order to receive this pranahuti, one has to be trained. So we do the training, we give the training to every individual, and they receive this pranahuti and go deep within themselves and experience the effect of pranahuti entering your heart and see how it changes your life altogether. For this, you don't have to sacrifice your family life. Often it is understood that you have to lead a celibate life, or you have to go into forests. Tell me a place where God doesn't exist. When we all say God is all pervasive, He is omnipresent, He is in my heart too, so why not seek Him in my heart? Right? Also, seeking God outside yourself will be a failure. See, if you cannot feel Him inside, how can you feel Him outside? Another argument against celibacy was God was not a fool, or is not a fool, for creating two sexes if one was enough. There is a purpose behind creating positive, negative, Purusha, Prakriti, man, woman. If you say I'm going to turn into celibate, you are arguing with God and trying to prove God that he's a foolish fellow. So one has to lead a natural life. If you want to find natural rhythm in your life, you cannot go against nature. Becoming celibate, renunciating life, it's all falsity to my understanding. True love cannot arise by abandoning families. You are running away.
Yeah. And coming to meditation for women, how it will be helpful to them, and tell us about heartfulness.
Oh, it has a far-reaching impact not only to a mother, but because she is meditating, that will have the neurological, physiological, physical, emotional, spiritual, all levels will be covered to her progenies and progenies that comes after that. So you believe in genetic transfer, right? 23 chromosomes from father, 23 from mother. So each one's role is quite crucial, paramount actually. You have heard this new science approach now. It's called epigenetics, meaning the effect of environment, our surroundings, on our genetic expression. Now, when you are under stress, and especially mother-to-be who is pregnant is under stress, what happens? All the sympathetic system gets activated. Stress hormones gets released. You are either in the fight or flight or hide mode. And what happens then, if you have to fight or take a flight? Fight means you have to raise your arms. So the blood has to go there. Similarly, if you want to run, take a flight, blood has to reach the legs because you cannot fight, so you have to run. So now what happens in that situation? Blood is diverted from your visceral organs like lungs, digestive systems, and it is given to limbs. So there is a diversion. Blood is rushing more towards the limbic brain, what they call the back part of the brain, at a cost of providing blood to the thinking part of the brain, the frontal cortex. Now this is very interesting scenario. Suppose a pregnant mother is in the stressful situation. What happens then? The child also receives the same stress hormones which mother has transferred through blood crossing the placenta and reaches the embryo. child that is growing within as an embryo has nothing to do with outside. Maybe she is fighting with her husband or some other situation that creates stress. So the child also suffers because blood is diverted from visceral organs to other parts of the brain. Similarly, the hindbrain gets more blood supply than the frontal brain. So they have lesser thinking abilities. The digestive system will be very poor in a family where mother is always under stress. So prescribing meditation, remaining in a sattvic mode is recommended in our culture. And I remember my sisters, whenever they were pregnant, my father and my family would receive my sisters after performing some lot of rituals at their homes. They perform religious rituals, nothing wrong with it, and with lot of respect, reverence, puja, they are brought home where they can stay in comfort, in a familiar environment of parents' place. There the stressful situation will not arise. So the growth of embryo is very well done. So for women especially, whether you are still staying with your husband during your pregnancy or you are going to your Maika, still meditation always helps. If you want spiritual progeny, you better meditate. If Vivekananda or Buddha has to be born in your family, imagine the level of consciousness mothers will have to have. Otherwise, you see the difference in the creation of Dhritarashtra, Pandu and Vidur. Same father to all of them. 3 different mothers. 3 different mothers with 3 different attitudes at the moment of conception. First queen closed her eyes and said, "No, not with this fellow, I don't like this guy." Child was born blind, and that is Dhritarashtra. The other woman, before meeting Vedyas, she felt so much shock that her blood circulation stopped for a moment. She became pale. So the child that was born was also pale, leucodermic. The third queen, not a queen, but she was a maid servant, Dasi Putra, right? And that turned out to be Vidura, and she welcomed that. I'm so fortunate, I will be able to hand over. It's my luck that I will be able to hand over. If these 2 queens fail, at least my son will become the king, and I'll be contributing something great to this kingdom. So she felt honored. So the child that was born was the wisest of the lot. So the attitude with which they came together created a different class of human. And meditation changes our attitude. It's actually attitude reinforces meditation, and meditation also reinforces. It's a vicious cycle, attitudes. So to me, I think whether man meditates or not, all women should meditate if you want to create a brighter future of your children.
Okay. And how do you define yoga and what is its real meaning? Is there any larger significance than mere fitness for it?
Well, Sanskrit term yoga, it is defined like this: Yad Jyoti iti yoga, one that unites. Now, what is to be united here? It's like raindrops falling in the ocean. They become one. Now here, I have to unite with my maker. That means Atman with Paramatman. That is the yoga. In order for Atman to merge with Paramatman, it is like, as I was saying, raindrops falling in the ocean. If I were to compare myself with water droplets that is merging with the ocean, the nature of the ocean water and nature of the raindrop has to be exactly same. Imagine the oil raining over the ocean, it will float. And though they are together, They will never mix, they will never match, they will never dissolve into each other. Many families are like that today. They are together but never merged, never united. And the same trend continues with our life, with the ultimate. Atman not able to merge with Paramatman. The actual purpose is to unite with the Maker. Right? And it has nothing to do whatsoever with the prevalent idea of exercise. You sit in sukhasanas or you sit in a head down, head standing. These are extremes, perverted approach to yoga. Can you imagine? Even dogs do better yoga than human beings. I mean, that way, asanas wise. Right? Dogs can turn their body around. They can also have a headstand. They can also, have a twisted acrobatic self. They can. You think they will realize God? They do better exercise than us. So, yoga in the famous terminology today, the way it is understood, is not yoga. Yeah, but even Ramdev Baba huffing and puffing, that is a breathing exercise. It is only to improve your health. It has nothing to do with spirituality. But unfortunately, people are after that. See, do that also, but don't forget the main purpose.
Okay, and spirituality and yoga are two parallel rays that passes through the depths of consciousness of yogi or guruji. And what is your view about spiritual guidance in our lives?
Well, spirituality to me is something subtler, very refined approach. Hinduism is a broad spectrum, actually. It has everything in it. It has approach through forms. It also has the approach through beyond forms. It has also approach through thoughts and beyond thoughts, like akar to nirakar, from vichar to nirvichar, kalpa to vikalpa to nirvikalpa. All those stages are there. For example, we are taught as children, there is God. This is the statue of Lord Krishna. So we worship with a lot of respect and honor. Has anyone felt Krishna? Has anyone felt Lord Shankara or Shiva or Ma Durga? If they have at all felt their presence, it's not because of this worship of a statue or a murti. Form is there to teach children that something like this exists. But as we grow, advance, religion becomes a spirituality where you are trying to feel the presence everywhere, first within yourself. And once you begin to feel the presence in yourself, you have gone beyond the mere understanding that God exists. And this experience also has to be transcended. Suppose you came here and you felt something great. Is it enough? It's not enough. Suppose you are in a company of a very wealthy friend and you enjoy the hospitality for 3 months. You feel, so wow, it's good. But deep down in your heart, what do you feel? I wish I was also as wealthy, as rich. So experience may be great. Becoming is better. Divine experiences are great. Earlier you were only believing in God. Good, but not good enough. Later, as you advance, you begin to experience, that is spirituality. And then you go beyond experiencing and say, okay, enough of these divine experiences. I want to become divine myself. I have experience of Lord Shiva or Durga. Okay, good enough, but I want to become like her. That's the next stage. And then a true Anandam comes, which yoga talks about, Sat Chit Anand. When you realize all this, you feel so blessed. Anand begins. But unfortunately, even that becomes a burden of Anandam. And that also a true yogi will renunciate. Enough. No dikhawa, no playing around, no tamasha also. Often people do tamasha. Oh, I can levitate. If you can levitate, they'll be showing the whole thing on your TV broadcast also, that see, so and so is levitating. Even a state of experiencing, before that people recite Aham Brahmasmi. Do you think by reciting Aham Brahmasmi you'll become Brahma? And even if you experience that state and to declare Aham Brahmasmi, is it not egoism?
Women is the power center of your balanced family. And how important do you think spirituality is display at Heartfullness?
The powerhouse. Women is a powerhouse, if you allow her to be. Yes, I do believe, as I was saying, dharma, the truth, is in the hands of mothers, sisters. That doesn't disengage man from following dharma. And that's why sisters, brothers, mothers, wives, feminine aspects, they are more powerful because they are very subtle. And that's why the wives are also given a terminology in our Hindu Shastra as Dharma Patni, meaning one who keeps her husband within the boundaries of Dharma. That's a Dharma Patni, if that fellow is willing to listen, right? When I think, when you talk of samadhi and things like that, samadhi or yoga, when you go deep into it, yoga, we discussed that it is the state of union with the ultimate. Samadhi is the experience of the state which existed before the creation. So you want to match your consciousness that prevailed before the creation came into being. Now, when you think of what pre-existed before the creation, can you think about it? Do you think there were stars? Was there earth there before the creation? Were the galaxies there? So if there were no stars, no galaxies, do you think there was light? So it was all darkness. That was only thing that existed originally was Prakriti in the form of darkness. Our sages, they symbolized through visual graphics the nature of the Prakriti in the form of black object. We call her as Kali. That is the original mother. That's why the Swarupa, Rupa is given as dark black. And the moment of creation was so volcanic or violent. Millions or billions of atom bombs kinds of blasted. Tremendous violence. So that is depicted by oozing blood from her mouth. So you can understand the moment of creation by just looking at the visual graphics of Kali. And this Kali exists in every feminine. That's a feminine quality. And every Prakriti, in Prakriti there is Purusha and there is Prakriti. Prakriti is the base. Without this base, there cannot be universe. So on that ground, women have the advantage of being ahead. And they choose not to be aggressive, and that becomes a disadvantage for them. See. At the level of the heart, they prefer to be at peace, not to rock the boat kind of in a family, and man takes advantage of it by and large. At a evolutionary level also, if you think who is better, you compare 15-year-old boy and a 15-year-old girl, their understanding will be different. Women has this added advantage of being more creative and being more heartful rather than logical. So on an evolutionary scale, women are far ahead, but they don't take advantage of it because the system is like that.
And even in this generation of modern times, yoga is widely being practiced in most of world now. So tell us about your International Women Displays of Heartfullness.
Well, tragedy is that women wants to become equal. Why do you want to become equal? Understand you are superior. The fight for equality proves that you feel yourself as inferior. So they should drop this nonsense and don't express that we are here to fight for it. Who fights? Only weak people fight. Only when you want to forcefully prove yourself that we are better than you, no, or even equal. When you are better, why you want to prove you are equal? They should understand this in the core of their heart, the very essence that this nature, the entire universe can collapse without these feminine qualities.
And what are your ideal thoughts about parenting for working women in the current generation?
Well, we have to evolve things as we proceed. First of all, as I was saying to you earlier, the children born to 3 different mothers, same father, right? So the genetic expressions would have taken them into a different levels, but here, because the attitude at the moment of conception of these 3 women was different. Can you fabricate and say, I'm going to invite Lord Jesus as my son, or Lord Buddha as my son, or Swami Vivekananda, I'm inviting his soul to incarnate and become my son. Right. Now, will that soul enter my womb? It can, if my vibrations, if my quality matches that soul. And will the quality of my self is enough, or there are 2 players in the whole game? You may have absolutely developed that state, but what about the other guy? So both have to be on a different level altogether. And can you fabricate this sattvikta at the moment of conception, when you are huffing and puffing and mating like animals? Nothing comes to your vision at that time. You are blinded out of pleasure. But if you had the habit of going inward, remaining meditative under all circumstances, even the joy of coming together will be escalated at that moment. People don't understand that. That husband and wife meditating together, and with that meditative mind when they come together, that ecstasy, the joy of being together will be heightened much more than mating like animals. So this is the first thing, that you cannot fabricate an attitude at the moment of conception. Either you have it from the beginning or you don't. So one has to prepare oneself, choose a right partner. It's very difficult, I know, because we are attracted by so many things. I mean, everyone has his own fancy idea about who should there be taken up as a partner in life. You may be loving someone, dying for that person, but your family will say, not this guy, because he belongs to Kamma and you are ready, and all kinds of, So there is a problem there. Say. Even though people say we are in a modern society, I don't think you are in a modern society still. You are still enslaved by your communities, by the pressure, and not following true love. Even if you are following, you are following only romance, not true love. So women today are at a greater disadvantage than ever. You are neither modern nor going back to the old culture. You are in a limbo. So I don't know what advice can one give or take in such a limbo state.
Does the government play any role in women to removing all the limitations and their thoughts of achieving something in life?
Without the calm mind, You see, I have known one person, I would not like to name names here, but always agitated. Always, you tell something and, I have to do this, I have to do this. Always hyper. I have witnessed my master quite often, where there are half a dozen people surrounding him with all kinds of problems, and he listens carefully. So first art for any person, be you a woman or a man, is to listen. And you can listen completely with the presence of mind only when you are calm. So calmness is prerequisite. Second thing, I would say openness of the heart. Sometimes, you start speaking to someone and the other person is already pouncing to give you answer before you even finish your question. That person is lacking calmness. Otherwise, the other person would have listened to you fully, understood you, and then answer. For example, when you cook hurriedly, you are on the go, what happens to that food? Spoiled food. And when you cook like that, in a running state, always on the go, and also take food on the go. Some people, they're chewing their sandwich while driving. What happens to such ingestions? They speak to your body. It reflects. Many new diseases are because of this. Vibrations settles in. So you can feel the aura of a calm person versus angry person versus greedy person. You can see the colors around them. Nowadays they have cameras, Kirlian photography. They can see the color changes when you are angry, when you are calm, when you are, with different states of minds. Also, when you undergo this EEG experimentation, a calm mind also reflects on the machines, versus angry mind. And it has always been proven that calm mind absorbs better, understands better. If you are a student and you study with a lot of calmness, versus when you are full of anxiety, what will happen to my exams, and you flip pages like that, you remember nothing. You can go through the whole book, but you can't answer anything after that. One has to digest. And this digestion in the mind happens only when your mind is calm. Okay, go ahead.
And most importantly, how should women avoid regressive thoughts about them and how to maintain positivity in life?
It's a tough question. First, establish some goal. Have company of good people around you. Immerse yourself in spiritual activities. Start with meditation. Start Heartfullness, Sahaj Marg meditation. We don't charge anyone, it's all for free. You try it for a month and see how it changes your life altogether, just within a month.
Do you feel meditation can be useful to avoiding the anxiety levels of women?
Well, as I was sharing earlier, it can help in many things. Once I was in one university, I was invited to give a talk to PhD students here in Hyderabad only, agriculture university. And there, the guide, one of the guides, she asked me a question. My students are always under stress before exams. Can meditation help? I said, certainly meditation can help a lot of things. But why do you want to remove stress from these children? Let them feel stressed. If they don't feel stressed before exam, they will not study. So some level of stress is required. Not too much, not too little. Within certain, it's what we call healthy stress. It's called eustress, E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S, eustress. So not too much stress and not too low, just enough to motivate a person to do good things in life. Imagine if you're an employer and all your employees They have to be on their toes to perform, no? If you relax them, what will happen? They'll take advantage of your leniency. So even though you may not mean to create stress, but you pretend sometimes, and they also get the message that yes, I have to perform. The performance state to improve your productivity, sometimes it's good. A person who is meditative, actually, he always does better, always, be it music, be it studies, be it a housewife or be it a husband, doesn't matter. They always try to do their best, and having done their best, they will never feel anxiety, they will never feel stressed. As a student, you will be doing your part the best way possible. So stress doesn't exist when you have a meditative mind. You will laugh at it and say, what is stress? Yeah. Continue with this stress a little bit more. Is it the ultimate stress? Will happen or may not happen, depending upon who you are. When you are breathing your last, and you know, I am seeing my maker now, I have to depart from this world. Would you be able to leave this world with stress or with a smile? And that depends on how well you have performed in this life. Like a student, if he has done very well, he will not worry about exam. He will say, I am going to pass anyway. So if I have not prepared in my life, lived the way I was supposed to, you will always have stress. And when you fail in the life's exam, you are recycled, rebirth. Moksha cannot happen.
Guruji, one final question. Why did you choose this path and who made you to come into this service?
When you ask someone a question, are you married?
Yeah.
Why did you marry him?
Okay.
Something like that happens. Most important questions or seeking
Okay.
happens because you are interested. If you were not interested, you wouldn't get into it. So interest was there, but not so much. But when I approached, actually, so a friend of mine took me to a person, a lady like yourself, and she was a trainer of this Sahaj Mark system of meditation. We call preceptors. And she said, why do you want to meditate? At that time I was only 18 years of age. I said, I want to become like Swami Vivekananda.
Okay.
I said, oh, that means you want to become sannyasi. He said, my Guruji does not recommend becoming sannyasi. He says it's like running away from your family duties. You can learn to love only in a family. So many things he explained the way I told you. Then God was not a fool to create two sexes if one was enough. And why do you want to look for him in forests when he is everywhere? So these two arguments. And finally she gave me a meditation session. And I liked that experience so much that yes, I felt that I have arrived home. That very first experience took me into a very deep level of samadhi. And I cherished it, beyond imagination. And I remained in that state for many days, many days. And after that, one meditation after the other meditations, they were good. They were good and kept on inspiring me. Yes, this is the way, this is the way, this is the way.
And thank you so much, Kamalesh ji, and giving your time and making us very happy. And you give us such a beautiful and very inspiring words about meditation and yoga. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your
Tejasvi.
time.
Thank you.